Damien Pierce is hurt. Or is he injured?
Sounds like he's injured.
Yeah, it sounds like he is injured. According to Aaron Wilson, he was the first I saw to break this story. Damien Pierce suffered a mild high ankle sprain that could sideline him 1 to 2 games. They took an MRI. Apparently that showed no structural damage. Here's the thing. Just put him on IR. Just shut him down. What's the point? I love Damien Pierce. I've been very critical of Nick Caserio at times, but that was a great pick in the 4th round. Really good player. He doesn't need to play again. Full-on tank mode is where the Texans need to be. And ultimately, Damien Pierce, let's save some carries for when the games actually count next year rather than in a lost season.
Yeah, high ankle sprains for running backs is not a 1 to 2 week injury. So I don't care if it's mild. I don't care if it's a severe one. This is an injury that I believe will keep him out for the rest of the season. And even if it doesn't keep him out for the rest of the season, go ahead and keep him out for the rest of the season. I agree with Jake. Damien Pierce is not going to be a significantly better running back because he gets an extra 40 carries over the final 2 games of the season against the Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. He's not going to be a significantly better player in 2023 because he plays 2 more games in 2022. He showcased what he's capable of doing right now. He showcased that he is a factor for your offense and can be one of the pieces of an offense that is successful at different times. And yeah, they got to do what's best for the long term, even though he might be ready in a couple of weeks, which again, I don't believe he will be ready in a couple of weeks based on pretty much every high ankle sprain we've seen in the National Football League's history.
You guys are no fun, man. I mean, that's the smart, sensible, rational thing to do, to sideline him for the rest of the year and get him as healthy as possible for next season when you're hopefully more competitive than you are right now. But and Damien Pierce is one of the very few watchable elements of the Houston Texans. There aren't a lot of reasons to watch this team play right now. And you tell me I don't get to watch him for the last month of the season, and that takes any semblance of fun that you could maybe have taking this team in every Sunday. There are a lot of people who are already checked out and have been checked out for a couple of months. Hell, some people I'm not sure even bought in at all this season. But Damien Pierce has been one of very few, if not the only, bright spots for this team. And he's a reason to keep watching this team every Sunday because, well, he's entertaining and he's something that you believe your franchise could build on. So, man, this team's already been tough to watch this year. You tell me that the rookie running back's going to be out for the year, that's even worse, even more painful.
Well, hold on now. You're telling me that you're not excited for a whole hell of a lot more Dare Agumbawale and Rex Burkhead?
Give me Eno Oh, wait. No, can't be excited for Eno Benjamin because that's what you do when a running back gets hurt. You don't bring in another one. You cut another one because that makes a lot of sense. No, I'm telling you, Cody, that I am not excited for Dare Agumbawale and Rex Burkhead.
Go ahead, Jake.
I was just going to say real quick, did you guys watch Monday Night Football last night? Kyler Murray tore his ACL. What if that's Damien Pierce? What if that's Damien Pierce in a game that means nothing? Now, quarterback, I get it. Kyler's going to play, but the Cardinals were 4-8 last night. They were not going anywhere. And now they lost Kyler Murray. It could impact his start to next season. What if Damien Pierce tears his ACL or has an Achilles injury like James Robinson had a year ago in a game in December? Don't bother. Just shut him down. It's a logical decision.
I get doing this, but you can't think like that normally. I mean, if you're thinking like that, you should have benched Damien Pierce a month and a half ago because you were realistically out and not competitive before you got to 111.
But you're thinking about it now because he already has a current injury. So rushing him back for meaningless games makes no sense.
Right. You can be worried about an aggravation of the ankle. You can't be worried about an ACL thing. Look, you guys are right. Like I said at the beginning, it's a smart, sensible, rational thing to do to shut him down for the end of the season. It's just going to make this team even harder to watch.
And here's an annoying aspect of this Houston Texans football team. When the starting running back goes down, there's nobody worth their salt at the backup spot. We've clamored for this for an offseason plus now. Since the end of last year to the beginning of this year, has changed the running back room. It wasn't just go get one running back. It was change the running back room. And they didn't do a good job of altering the room to the point Dallas is an extreme example, but if Zeke goes down, they got Tony Pollard, one of the best backups in all of football. There's a laundry list of teams that if their starter goes down, there's something worth watching at the backup running back spot. There's nothing worth watching at the backup running back spot for this team. Yeah, I guess Dare Agumbawale is under contract for next year, but is he going to be the backup running back next year? God, I hope not. Rex Burkhead's contract is done at the end of the year.
He'll be back.
That's a big tell if he's back.
Texan for life.
It's a big tell if he's back.
Once a Texan, always a Texan.
But there's nothing of any potential. There's no unknown behind Damien Pierce, and that's been the tough part about most of this season. Is for most of this season, there's been no potential behind Damien Pierce, who showcased a lot of potential, and that's an issue for a team that should have a bunch of, like, there should not be a bunch of notable, recognizable names behind Dameon Pierce in this running back depth chart. It should be a bunch of guys who've never gotten their opportunity and never gotten a chance, or have, had limited chances elsewhere and showcased a little bit a la Eno Benjamin. And instead, you got two veterans that barely are a factor this year and certainly shouldn't be a factor next year. That's just poor roster building by this team.
And really, you look at some of the other moves that have been made here. John Crumpler brought this up on Twitter. It's an excellent point. Shaq Lawson, Anthony Miller, Tyler Johnson, Eno Benjamin. Like, all these guys that, like, Nick Caserio brought in as, like, reclamation projects, really none of them have worked, I guess, other than, like, O.J. Howard. I mean, that's maybe not, like, the end-all, be-all for a general manager, but you would like to see Caserio find a couple guys, Cody, that maybe could be here for the long haul or help improve this team if you're basically dealing with these last 2 years of being one of the worst 2 or 3 teams in the NFL.
He has not had a lot of veteran payoffs, really, in his time as the general manager. There's a handful that have been nice signings and are nice players. Desmond King sticking around this team has been a nice player. Malik Collins has turned into a nice player. One of my things I think about with Malik Collins is if he's one of the best players in your front seven, you're a horrible team. If he's like the 6th best player in your front seven, you're probably a really good football team. That's where the Texans are right now. He's the best player in their front seven. They're not a very good football team. Mm-hmm. Like, he's had a couple of hits here or there, but for the most part, the Christian Kirksey's of the world, the Camus Grugier Hills, and then even these smaller risks with varying levels of commitment. The Shaq Lawson situation cost them a whole bunch of money from a dead cap perspective when they moved money around on him. Anthony Miller cost them a 5th-round pick. Yeah, Tyler Johnson didn't work out. Okay, he's a waiver claim. It cost him a few bucks. Okay, whatever. The Eno Benjamin one is really hard to understand because now would be the opportunity to find out if Eno Benjamin's got anything to it. I mean, he sat on the bench for 2 weeks. He played for a week, and then he was gone.
He learned the offense, and now he's gone.
Like, what? Like, this guy's going to just get shown the door when there's clear opportunity for him to be playing football?
Yeah, the fact that the Texans would rather keep Rex Burkhead than Eno Benjamin tells you everything you need to know about this organization. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Eno Benjamin asked for his release after Pep Hamilton ran Rex Burkhead on the field in that 1st and goal from the 4 situation in the final couple of minutes in Arlington on Sunday. I wouldn't be mad at all if Eno Benjamin is like, dude, you're not going to give me playing time over this guy, then why the hell am I here? Give me an opportunity to go play for a better football team where maybe I can actually be a part of a roster that competes and makes it to the postseason. You're right. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. This is the weirdest timing to waive Eno Benjamin right when Dameon Pierce gets hurt. And you just feel like there could have been something there with Eno Benjamin because he put up pretty good numbers with Arizona this year. He wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but he got a couple of starts when James Conner was out and was relatively productive. You saw more from Eno Benjamin in those few games in Arizona than you've seen from Burkhead or Dare Ogunbowale this year, so why not give him a shot? Hell, you finally gave Amari Rodgers a chance this past weekend. What did he do? He had a really good football game. Like, give these guys an opportunity to play. It's not like they're competing for playing time with really good players. They're competing with nobodies. Eno Benjamin maybe could have shown you something that would have made him worthy of bringing back for next season, and instead you never even really looked and saw what you got from him. Just the timing of it doesn't make sense, and why bring a guy in if you're never going to use him at all?
And one of his 3 carries, the first-round left guard that you picked, just olayed a guy right into him for like a 4 or 5 yard loss, the torpedoed a series. So it's not like he even got a real fair shake. Like,
hit 3 carries.
He got out there for 3 carries, and one of them, the left guard, just totally blew his assignment, and Eno Benjamin got blown up. They didn't even find anything out about Eno Benjamin the time he was here. And the toughest part about that is this is exactly what we knew was going to happen. Because when I saw Eno Benjamin get waived, I went back to, I believe it was November 15th. November 15th is when we talked about Eno Benjamin. And listen to what we said on November 15th.
Get ready to get pissed off when Rex Burkhead still gets carries over him.
I'm 3rd and 4.
I'm like trying to tell myself like this move is being made so Burkhead gets less touches, but we all know what's going to happen when we get to game day on Sunday.
We know exactly what's going to happen. He's going to sit on the bench this week. He's going to maybe be active next week and not get used. He'll be active the following week, get lightly used, and then he'll be released. That's what happened.
Almost dead on.
Almost dead on.
We were 1 week off, right?
Yep.
He was here for 4 weeks technically, but that timeline pretty much checks out. The only difference was he was inactive for 2 weeks. Then he was active and not used, and then he was active and lightly used, and then, like you said, released.
And we called it. Burkhead would be used in critical spots. Over Benjamin. Go back to the goal line against the Cowboys on Sunday. What did they do?
We are so good. We deserve a raise. Who do we talk to?
I don't know that we always have good takes or predictions, but that one we nailed spot on.
We're 3 Gringo Damases over here. All right, that's who we are. That was genius, but also not that genius because it was super predictable.
Well, because you could look, you could exactly tell what this organization was going to do with Eno Benjamin. You knew exactly what was going to occur and what was going to happen. It was roughly the same thing that happened with Tyler Johnson, and damn, for a second there, it looked like it was going to be the same thing that happened with Amari Rodgers. The tough part about giving them credit for Amari Rodgers is the only reason he was playing is because 2 guys were hurt.
Yeah.
It's not like he would have been active if Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks were healthy. Like Amari Rodgers would have been sitting on the bench, holding the clipboard, watching everybody else play.
Watching Philip Dorsett do absolutely nothing. Again, we've seen a lot this year.
He's still on the team.
He is. He was active on Sunday.
There you go.
Yeah.